Streets Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out the graduationparty.org if you or a loved one need mathematics tutoring that's high quality, very affordable, and highly accessible. You will at the very least have a qualified tutor such as myself with degrees in physics and engineering that'll be able to teach you. Also with 15 years plus of tutoring experience. Also, blackhousenews.com/shop is going up. It has a new paraphernalia, but the website blackfoxnews.com is out. You know what I mean? Make sure you check that to get some of your latest and greatest streams. Now, moving on into the news. This past Saturday in San Diego, California, off the coast of San Diego, there was actually two boats that capsized filled with migrants. At least 8 migrants are said to be dead or missing. There was apparently late that night, there was a woman on the boat who actually called 911 talking about one of the boats capsizing, whatever. By the time the authorities got there, they found 2 empty boats. So it's nothing's known about these migrants, but we do know that a lot of increase in people swimming all the way from Mexico across into the U.S. has been on the rise, definitely in recent years, definitely with Biden as president, because as much as Republicans want to give him slack for like easing up border restrictions, whatever, this motherfucker is keeping business as usual with closing off borders. And we still got the Remain in Mexico policy in play. You still got other immigration, you know what I mean? Niggas still getting jailed in crazy amounts, you know what I mean? Crazy rates and all of that. So it's like, you know, what do you want people to do? A lot of people think that there's an influx into the United States because of the border policies of the United States. These motherfuckers that's trying to on foot come into the country don't give a fuck about the policy? Are you kidding me? Like, y'all gotta think. These motherfuckers is living life and death. And that's how people gotta treat it. So when you got like the United States or countries like Italy and other European countries, whatever, closing off their borders after, you know, a century or two of raping and pillaging and extracting from other places, you kind of see it as a little unfair, a little, you know, got a little white supremacist tinge to it, don't you think? A little manifest destiny still getting rolled out, don't you think? I'm rambling though, but you know I'm speaking on fit ass. Green War Graduation. Streets Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. So, Iran and Saudi Arabia have actually reestablished diplomatic relations between the two countries and agreed to open up their respective embassies. And they did this and signed a deal in China. So China brokered this tension that apparently was a dispute between the two countries that has lasted for about 7 years. But you had the secretary for the Supreme National Security Council of Iran actually speaking out about it, saying that, you know, they decided to, you know, end their 7-year dispute and focus on more on their collective, you know, future and, you know, regional issues. They definitely want to keep the region, extra regional parties from meddling in their affairs, as well as from Western states, you know, meddling in their affairs, as well as from Zionist regimes. And when they talk that Zionist talk, you know who they talking about. Now, this is happening while the United States, we actually, you know, I ain't gonna say we, because I ain't part of y'all white motherfuckers in which the buttons y'all be pushing. The buttons y'all be pushing, y'all definitely don't check with the editor-in-chief before y'all push y'all buttons. But nevertheless, this is why the United States actually has beef with, you know, of course, Iran. And then there's rising tensions with the United States and China over the Taiwan situation, you know what I'm saying? Which some might say was mishandled, sending Nancy Pelosi out there to Taiwan, knowing that China strictly forbid this shit. You know what I'm saying? Now you got the leader of that country going for his 3rd term. You know what I'm saying? You talk about a supreme leader, but as far as this deal being brokered, you had John Kirby, who's actually the spokesperson for the U.S. National Security Council, saying that it is not you know, the U.S. welcomed the deal, but it's not a sign of China's growing global influence. That's what, you know, Kirby was basically saying, but, you know, he got to say that shit. You know what I'm saying? Another thing he said is that the United States is not going to step back regarding its presence in the Middle East. So, there you have it. It's about to get real. And of course, I gotta let y'all know, because I'm the Streets Reporter of the New World Order, and this is definitely some New World Order shit playing out. Green War Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. I keep letting y'all know about what's going on out there in Israel and Palestine and all of that, because this shit is important. It's gonna matter. And I'm the street supporter of the New World Order. Gotta let y'all know what's happening. Like, a lot of this stuff you might even be able to find in your religious text and watch it play out. But nevertheless, whoever told you it's really a back and forth war, it's on some bullshit. They was lying to you, man, because every time I'm reporting on this, is Israelis beating up on the Palestinians. And this story is nothing new. In Sunday morning in the town of Nablus, you actually had Israeli soldiers murder in a shootout. They ended up murdering 3 Palestinian men. So I guess in that sense, it being a shootout, yeah, it was some back and forth or whatever, but 3 Palestinians gone. And this came a day after the 10th consecutive day after a march. 500,000 people actually got together for a march for the 10th consecutive week, protesting against the new Israeli government. You know, this is the most far-right government that they've ever had, and they talking spicy too. But this is the 10th consecutive week that millions of Israelis have actually been protesting because this government wants to gut their judiciary. So basically, no judges, no jury. They basically want to just rule straight up by decree. You know what I'm saying? Thumb up or thumb down on that ass. Like, pause. Nevertheless, you also have Bezalel Smotrich, who's actually the finance minister of Israel, was actually granted permission this weekend to come visit the United States by the Biden administration. And you had a bunch of people, especially all across like Jewish American organizations, whatever, protesting that shit, because this is the same dude that earlier this month was accused of backing what's called a pogrom, Pogrom, basically an ethnic cleansing, if you will. But he was accused of backing this because he had said that Israel will wipe out the Palestinian town of Hawara, and he said this days after there had already been violence inflicted in that area that actually left a Palestinian man dead and left a bunch of homes and cars burned down in that area. So those are the times we in, y'all. Green War and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in the Democratic Republic of Congo, they're smack in the middle of Africa. Yeah, I've been keeping y'all in touch with the war that's been going on over there with rebels from the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, as well as M23 rebels, you know what I mean, coming from Rwanda, and warring essentially trying to, you know what I mean, secure that area or whatever. You have in North Kivu, in the Karindara eastern village, you actually had this past Sunday an attack that led to 19 people actually being killed from this situation. And this is just days after there was a twin raid in that same region that took the lives of 36 people. So you got accounts from these disasters talking about how motherfuckers is ending up with their throats sliced from ear to ear, homes and belongings being burnt, and motherfuckers is in the hospitals. Even the hospitals and the beds and the medicines and all of that is getting burned down. Motherfuckers is straight trying to exterminate people, and it's looking crazy because where are they getting all this power from? You have the United Nations calling it a humanitarian crisis, or they keep saying it's brewing. I don't know how long they have to say that it's brewing. You have 300,000 people that have actually been displaced from North Kivu in this past month. So the disaster is already taking place. And you also have the president of neighboring Rwanda, Paul Kagame, actually getting a lot of calls to stop supporting the M23 rebels, which are contributing to this violence in the DRC. It's leading to kidnappings, all sorts of human rights violations, you know what I'm saying, extortions, rapings, and indiscriminate murder. So, I mean, keep your thoughts and prayers for the children out there, because kids is getting killed too. Green War and Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you actually have the Biden administration actually saying they are going to forbid, they are going to bar, they are going to stop oil and gas leasing for 3 million acres of federal waters in the Arctic Ocean. And then they are also going to limit the oil and gas drilling that can take place for 13 million acres that are of area that's actually in the National Petroleum Reserve in Atlanta's not Atlanta, but in Alaska's in northern Alaska, essentially. Now this is coming as they actually approved the $8 billion Willow project for ConocoPhillips. It's basically a gas and oil drilling project that's taking place in Alaska. And this is something that indigenous people have actually been fighting for years. And they've actually approved it. Even though this past Friday, the White House had denied that they had approved it, but now it's officially approved. Now, you have residents of Alaska that actually appreciate these things because they actually get kickbacks from when these oil and gas projects take place. It's like, all right, well, we polluting in y'all state. We got to at least get y'all some money for it. So, you know, and, you know, Alaska is considered a red state or whatever. A lot of times these people don't have issues with it unless their health is like seen as being directly affected by it. But the indigenous people don't play that because they basically like, yo, you violating on a spiritual level already. So niggas ain't even trying to hear that shit. What are y'all thoughts? Is the Biden administration doing more protecting of this land or than his predecessor, or is he doing less? You know, Green War and Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Just gotta report this or whatever because I like talking money, I like talking business, and God let y'all know. Saudi Aramco. This is a oil and gas company that is mostly owned by Saudi Arabia because, you know, the state holds mostly majority ownership of those big companies like that, whatever, in other countries. They actually raked in $161 billion last year in revenue, that is. That is the largest amount posted for any fossil fuel company ever. 161 billion. They made it for Saudi Aramco, mostly owned by Saudi Arabia. And this is a country that the United States not only does business with, but we also do arms deals with them. Oh, y'all want $8 billion worth of warheads? Here, I'll sell it right to you. You know what I mean? I'm just going to turn the blind eye to whether you use it to blow up these motherfucking Yemenis to smithereens. You know what I'm saying? As long as y'all pay us what we want to be paid. And our military industrial complex keeps flourishing. That's how the United States does. It's fucked up. Green War and Graduation. Streets Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So you actually have 15 million people across California and Nevada that are currently under flood watches after an atmospheric river, as what they're calling the Pajara River, actually breached the levee over this past weekend. And it caused like uncontrolled flow into the area, and it caused thousands of people to actually have to flee their homes. Now, these areas, these 15 million people are bracing themselves for more extreme weather. You know, they're expecting like some heavy rainfall, and you're talking about the Pajara River, which already has a levee breach. So, you know what I mean, prayers out to the people that are in those areas, and also positive vibes. And if you can, get the fuck up out of there. Green War and Graduation, y'all. Streets Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Weather is going crazy everywhere, it seems like, right? So I gotta let y'all know about it. They had Cyclone Yaku up in South America in Peru, and it actually killed 6 people, and it damaged or completely destroyed hundreds of homes. You know what I mean? A lot of downpour that took place in that country over this past weekend. Now also you have over in Australia, specifically in Queensland, you know, them experiencing a lot of heavy torrential downpour in that area, you know what I mean, causing flooding. And it's not the first time that I've been reporting on that in recent months over there in Australia. A lot of heavy rains been going over in that Victorian land. And then also you have in Mozambique, you had Cyclone Freddy actually make landfall in Mozambique for the second time this month. It actually, the cyclone motherfucking spun the block for real. It doubled back crazy. Like, it didn't take any lives this time, but you know, of course it causes damage. And it's this cyclone in particular broke a record for basically the longest standing cyclone ever, and the cyclone that has accumulated the most energy. Now, Mozambique is an area that I've reported on in the past for having cyclones that have actually taken the lives of a lot of people. So keep all of that in mind. If you are in an area where it just seems like it could go left, man, if you could, get right up out of there. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report, man. You can't trust a motherfucking thing moving out here. You better hold yourself and your family and your community and your country and your world down, because don't expect anyone else to do it. I say that to say, all the people that used to bank with Silicon Valley Bank already are aware that there was actually a bank run that. This report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Had to put a hat on, yo. It's getting a little nippy out here. But a lot of shit happening, you know. I'm the Streets reporter of the New World Order. I gotta let y'all know what's happening out here and how it's shaping your world. And this is something that's pretty big. Shoot, a lot of people might want to know about this, but last week, Silicon Valley Bank in California actually collapsed as being the second largest banking collapse in U.S. history, only behind Washington Mutual when that happened in 2008 during the financial crisis, right? Because they had like over $300 billion in assets at their time of collapse. Silicon Valley Bank had over $200 billion in assets when it collapsed. And it collapsed due to a bank run. Basically, a bunch of people, a bunch of depositors trying to get their money out at one time. And it collapsed the bank. Now, here's the crazy part. The CEO of Silicon Valley Bank, Greg Becker, actually had fought for the deregulation or the rolling back of the Dodd-Frank regulations that were actually put in place in 2008 after the 2008 financial crisis. And those regulations came in to like kind of prevent this type of thing from happening, basically by requiring banks to have a certain amount of money and also to be able to pass these stress tests that would essentially prevent, you know, a bank from getting run on. That's what running means. Basically, everybody's trying to take their money out at one time. These banks actually invest with the money that you give them. So if everybody takes it out at one time, that's a problem. They don't have it. So that could collapse a bank. So that happened with Silicon Valley Bank. You have the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, the Treasury, U.S. Treasury or whatever, the Federal Reserve. They're actually taking measures to guarantee that all of the depositors for Silicon Valley Bank can actually get their money today. You know, after there's like obviously a lot of fears about, you know, what's going on with the bank and people trying to get access to their money. They officially have access to it today, and that is including those with uninsured deposits and also those deposits that actually exceeded the $250,000 cap that was put in place by the FDIC. So, you know, that even is kind of like, you know, these are rapid moves taking place. You got President Biden and, you know, White House. They're trying to ensure people that, like, you know, the financial system is not collapsing. However, this past Sunday, you also had a Signature Bank in New York collapse. And this is a major lender to cryptocurrencies or whatever. So with these two banking collapses, of course, people feel financially insecure. And you have Elizabeth Warren, who's actually a senator for Massachusetts or whatever, probably going to run for president last time. Somebody I actually fuck with. She actually was calling on regulators to be basically to get into the passing of these bonuses that were paid out to executives at Silicon Valley Bank right before their collapse was announced this past Friday. So it's like funny business going on. Shouldn't be no bank runs taking place. However, those Dodd-Frank regulation rollbacks that actually took place back in 2018 under Trump, and you had people like the Silicon Valley Bank CEO Greg Becker backing other like rich people, a lot of even, you know, Democrats as well. 17 Senate Democrats, 33 House Democrats actually voted with the Republicans to actually roll back those regulations, because just about all the motherfuckers is greedy at the end of the day, and they don't really give a fuck about the people. Or, well, now you got banks collapsing, people losing jobs, people losing access to their own money for any period of time is like enough to cause panic. And then you have there being financial insecurity within the country now. So, you know, you might want to make investments, have your own assets, and maybe even save your own money, saving gold or whatever, because it's a lot to ask people to trust these banks for what's going on right now. Understand, these are the second and third largest bank failures in U.S. history, only behind Washington Mutual back in the 2000s. You had Signature Bank that actually collapsed. They had about like 100 and I think 8 $118 billion in assets when they collapsed. Silicon Valley Bank having over $200 billion in assets. So shit is real. Even the people with the billies is taking falls. Green Wall and Graduation. Report of the New World of the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black House News Report. So over in Atlanta, I've been telling y'all about them building this $90 million police training facility that people will nickname it Cop City. Shit sound as dangerous as it is if you're a civilian out here, especially if you're a civilian of color out here in these United States of American streets. Now, you have forest protectors that have actually been protesting having encampments in the forest that they plan on wiping out just so they could build this fuck city of like cops training to be abusive and all of that. I ain't never gonna let Atlanta police live down what took place during the pandemic and how they was harassing those students out there on the streets. Just young adults period, like just adults period, black people period in the streets during that time. This black cops doing that shit too, you know what I mean? The fuck shit. But nevertheless, with this Cop City being built, a lot of people have been protesting, and as a response to the protest, you had Georgia State Patrol actually raiding the encampments that were being created by the forest protectors in January, and they shot and killed one of the protesters. Well, it turns out the person that they shot and killed, 26-year-old Manuel Esteban Terran, who's also has a nickname Tortuguita. It's like, little turtle basically, baby tortoise or something like that in Spanish. This man was killed, and they said that this man was the autopsy has shown, and it was revealed today, whatever, like the man was killed, and very much likely killed with his hands up and with his legs crossed in a seated position, like how they say Indian style, whatever, like, and that's how he was killed. You know what I mean? When they came in the encampment. So you had the family of Tortuguita actually suing the Georgia State Patrol for the release of more of the footage this past Friday, because they had blocked some of the footage. But some of the footage that's coming out though, and yeah, it's looking crazy. Cop City, yo, that's spelling disaster. $90 million, when $90 million in a place like Atlanta could be going towards, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, going towards communities that really need that shit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's down in Georgia is not getting money or don't got access to the bag. You feel me? A lot of people aren't getting that proper schooling and that proper development in their middle school and high school years, and they turning out to be savage. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of other ways that this money could be going towards. $90 million is just a lot of fucking money. We know that the government has got us sensitive to billions of dollars getting thrown around by, the state and by, the feds, but that's still nothing to sneeze at, yo. A lot of fucking money, and that could be used for the betterment of the community. And right now, the track record of police is not necessarily for and bettering the community. Let's just keep it a band, especially if you're black in America. Green Wall and Graduation, and that goes for people in color too. Rest in peace to Tortuguita.